individual kind of Zoom rooms. I trust that everybody's gotten that file. You should be able to just click on the room that you've been assigned to, and it should kind of take you there. And the critics will join you there. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to shepherd the critics into the right place. So, be patient if it takes a minute or two to get the faculty where they need to be. So kind of when you're there, I would ask you to, the group who is in each of the rooms is kind of going to be in charge of the conversation with the set of critics that you have. We've kind of organized a sequence or an order for you to present in, and that was a little bit, well, it was a lot of it kind of random. We just wanted you, one, to be kind of, to present your work with a collection of classmates who weren't necessarily in your studio, and we've kind of mixed up the order so that ideally everybody from the same studio won't present back to back to back to back. So we would ask that you would kind of honor that kind of order that is kind of listed. What we have in mind is that you will kind of present initially by kind of playing your kind of recorded presentation. When that's kind of ended, you might want to kind of initiate the conversation with the critics by just kind of saying a few kind of remarks, and then at that point it's likely going to be a conversation. Reviews really are, or should be, conversational. I think that most, if not all of you, had really good experiences in the mid-review. I think that kind of set the stage or set the tenor for kind of what you should kind of expect today. The review is really an experience that should kind of contribute to an additional layer of understanding of what you've done, both through the feedback that you get from the critics on your own project, but also from kind of listening to what's said about others. And I know I may go on and on and on about paying attention to what your classmates are doing because they're working on the same project as you are, but that is so kind of important. It's important because there's a lot to learn there, and it's super important because the forming of the studio culture is conditioned by the kinds of kind of empathy and understanding that you cultivate by being there for your classmates. And part of being there is kind of paying attention to what they've done and vice versa. So that is a really kind of important part. In the review sessions, there can be a kind of a tendency for the critics to be the only ones kind of talking in conjunction with the student whose work is being reviewed. But I would encourage you to be willful about participating in the conversation about a classmate's kind of presentation along with the critics, so that you're not just kind of the wallpaper in the Zoom room waiting for your turn to kind of present, but that you're an active contributor to the conversation kind of there. So you'll begin by kind of playing your recorded kind of presentation. The conversation following that is going to go 1,000 different ways. I think it makes sense for you to have the non-recorded version of your slideshow close at hand, just in case a critic wants to talk about a specific image and you want to be able to kind of click back to it and kind of bring it up to the screen. I would also ask you to have close at hand your actual physical construct. You might want to be able to kind of show that. or as kind of Sebastian has demonstrated, and now Nick has demonstrated, and maybe there are others, you might even want to occupy your wire hand kind of assembly. But you just want to be prepared to have a fluid conversation through this kind of review. And I think that's the kind of the gist of things. We've asked the critics to, following kind of each of the individual presentations and conversations about the individual presentations, to offer some summary remarks to kind of each of the kind of 8 kind of groups. Summary remarks that maybe kind of talk a little bit about how a body of work like this kind of fits within the kind of arc of your education, or how they think it fits to architecture in general. We, in years past, we've kind of gathered at the end of the afternoon and kind of offered some kind of general observations, usually peppered with lots of superlatives and congratulatory remarks. But we thought that for today, maybe that made sense to have in the 8 individual rooms, because it might kind of sponsor some questions and conversations, some dialogue, and dialogue is kind of one of the words of the day. Okay? So I think we're I think that's clear. Are there kind of questions about the organization of the day from the students? I mean, we've tried to make this bulletproof in terms of a organizational kind of logic. So by having you record your presentations, there should be a little bit of kind of stress taken off, and you should be comfortable and confident and ready to talk when the presentation is finished. While we're waiting for the other faculty to kind of join us, I want to kind of introduce kind of Michael Swisher, who will be with kind of Group 8. Michael just retired kind of this year, but he's still with us, and he's retired, but not really. But Michael has been a fixture of first year for longer than he would like to admit, but he's a special person to a lot of us here in terms of his kind of thoughtfulness and his attention paid to kind of foundational kind of understanding, or foundational education. And you can see in the background of his, in his little Zoom space, his painting studio. When the COVID moment comes to a conclusion, we will be having an exhibit of Michael's work in the gallery. And that exhibit will be attended by generations of students from the School of Architecture. So in addition to possibly meeting prospective employers, you'll get to feel the excitement of a cross-section of the community of the school, and you'll also get to see some really kind of remarkable kind of work, both in terms of painting, graphic design, writing. Michael is the co-author with Jeff Balmer of the book, The Big Idea. Michael, I poached your glossary and circulated it earlier in the semester as a kind of a point of kind of growing their kind of vocabulary. But I won't let all of you kind of not know that the exhibit is opening. You'll want to be there. We're also kind of joined by Hannah Alwad, who's a faculty member at the University of San Francisco. She's kind of joining us literally from San Francisco. She'll be with kind of Betsy in kind of group kind of one. So Hannah, we're kind of gradually kind of introducing kind of faculty as they kind of come into Zoom. I feel a little bit like I'm kind of watching the reverse version of a YouTube concert where each of the band members kind of gradually kind of walks off stage as their final song concludes. So, all right.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Thanks so much for coming. As I was telling the students, I may have to kind of go chase down faculty to make sure they all kind of get here on time, and then I'll kind of go over the plan for the day.
Some things never change.
Nope. It's just a little easier to hide online than it is to hide in stores.
Oh, I don't know. Some people were pretty clever about that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Mark Manick and Alex Cabral, who you on any other given year would have already kind of met. Kelly's here, Will's here. This is great. The students, if you haven't kind of turned on your camera, now's a good time. Caddy's here. Mark's not going to turn on his camera because his kind of portrait photograph is the image that he wants you to understand him through.
I see Nusheen here.
Yeah. Okay. And Liz and Thomas Forget. Okay. So I think we're getting kind of really close here.
I'm backlit because I'm in a room with windows in all directions. There's no.
That sounds like a nice problem to
It's
have.
a nice problem. There's no front lit today for me.
Yeah.
And then in an hour, I'll be completely dark.
Yeah. You could get a flashlight.
Yeah.
And all of you have met Thomas. Thomas will be coordinating the spring semester and kind of teaching with Nusheen, Arturo, and Trevor. So he'll become a very kind of familiar face and a very familiar kind of voice. Jefferson's here as well. All right, well, I'm gonna just kind of go ahead and kind of and Taylor, hey Taylor, offer just a general overview of how the afternoon is going to work. I've communicated this to the students and the faculty, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the kind of same page. So we have kind of subdivided the critics and the students into 8 kind of breakout rooms in order to facilitate a more manageable kind of afternoon. When we're done here, hopefully everybody has the Word document with the links. We'll ask you to kind of click into the room that you're assigned to. The students have pre-recorded their kind of presentation, and as I mentioned to the faculty, we asked them to do that in order to be able to kind of practice and refine their presentation, and also to calibrate their presentation to an approximate 5-minute kind of time limit. So what we're going to kind of ask them to do is to, they can introduce themselves, and then kind of they're going to play their presentation, and they've kind of maybe also prepared a few brief remarks to follow their recorded presentation. And then the conversation about the work might ensue. We've suggested that the review be kind of sequential, kind of one student after another after another. If the critics have another vision about that orchestration, it's in your hands. But we thought that there was real value in having them record their presentations for the issue of craft, but also to knock back some of the nerves that they might be kind of feeling on this first review. Also at the end of the presentation, or at the end of the group's presentation, we would ask the critics to maybe kind of offer the students some kind of summary observations about what they've seen. Maybe kind of put it in contexts that they think are kind of useful to think about the work. As you'll see, we've relied very heavily on the digital tool set to generate this body of work. Last year, we had a remarkable kind of final review where the physical kind of artifacts were like the thing that got savored and that got spent time on. Today we're relying on kind of the digital kind of representations and the collection of digital representations to effectively tell the story about the thinking that evolved and the process that evolved. So I think I think that's what I have to say. I kind of anticipate that these reviews, these individual reviews, will go on till about kind of 5 o'clock. We would like to meet with the students at 5:15 to go over a few kind of last minute kind of details. But kind of otherwise, the critics are the stewards of the individual reviews, and we are encouraging the students to be voices in the conversation about the work other than their own as well. Okay. Right, so I will rely on you all to click on your kind of link, and I will help kind of manage any folks who are having difficulty. And Nusheen, Arturo, and Trevor and I will be kind of popping in and out of the reviews, like strategic peeping toms. All right, well, have a good afternoon. Enjoy it, savor it, make notes. One last charge to maybe conscript some of the conversation from today's review into your journals. All right.
Are we being sorted into our houses?
No, you'll just click on to the link in the document that I sent.
So I should go out of this room. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna go out of this room and transport yourself to another place. Can I get a poster copy of that Christo print, Peter? I really like that.
I think they're available. Is that at the end of the document, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
There were two files. One was a PDF of the assignments, and the other was a Word document.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
And which one do we click to get onto our little one?
So you're in room 8, Michael, with Francis?
Where do I find roommate listed? Is it under the Word document?
Yeah,
I don't,
it's in the Word document.
got it.
No, not the Michael Swisher sigh.
This stuff gets me confused, that's all. All right,
Greg, I'm
Have fun,
gonna
Michael.
please wait for the host to start the meeting.
Yeah.
Have you designated hosts for each room?
Nushin made the.
I'm getting the wait for host too.
Yeah,
Start the meeting.
that's why I came back, because that's what I was getting.
I'm not getting any.
Well, that's a problem, David.
Isn't there some kind of room, breakout rooms?
So Greg sent the links in the last email.
Yeah,
You can click on the one that you and I are in, but it gives us the message that we got to wait for the host to start it.
I see. Good enough. Thanks, Alex. Are you going to take over the review?
No, I'm going to let you do all the talking.
No.
Greg? Greg, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Our room just says waiting for host to start.
Okay. Hold on. Let me.
Everybody's room says that right now.
Oh, okay.
Nushin set up those rooms. Let me.
I'll come back. I imagine she went into a room and that one started, so I'll just try and find her.
I'm going to go give it a shot, Betsy. I'll come back if it doesn't work.
Okay.